NYC, the fight for your vote. It's Friday, November 7th, 3 days after Election Day, and we have answers now about who won in those key races. But now the questions begin about how they will govern going forward. We're going to spend today's show talking about what the future could look like for New York City and for the rest of the country if the Democrats can harness the momentum they got from this week into the coming midterm elections. Joining me now for the bigger picture and the entire show is Chris Cillizza, an independent news creator on Substack and YouTube and a News Nation political analyst. Chris, welcome back to the show.
I always like being on after the election because I seem much smarter. So thank you for having me.
We all do. We all do. We all knew exactly how this was going to go.
I told you.
Yep. It's our last show.
Yes.
Which this has been such a fun run, and I'm so glad that you're here for our last show because there's a lot to discuss now. There's a lot to unpack and a lot to look ahead to. But first, just tell me your reaction to the New York City mayoral race. Were you surprised? What'd you think?
So it's so interesting, Essie, because I have like two separate reactions. One, I mean, I do think Mamdani should claim some level of mandate, right? I mean, it's a crowded race, and he wins over 50% of the vote. At the same time, and somewhat contradictory, I'm surprised Andrew Cuomo did as well as he did. I know that seems weird, but like,
yeah, no, I get it.
So Cuomo loses by about 10, and I actually think that's less about Zoran Mamdani. I think Mamdani had about 50, 51% no matter what. And it's more about the just utter collapse in terms of support for Curtis Sliwa at the end, right?
Yeah.
It seems as like Donald Trump saying we have to be for Cuomo because he's the only one who has a possibility to win. Really bumped Cuomo up more than I thought. If you told me that Andrew Cuomo was going to be in the 40s, I would think, oh, well, maybe that's a different race than we thought. So
right.
Cuomo overperformed and Mamdani, I think, slightly overperformed, which is very weird, but it means that everybody else in the ballot drastically underperformed, right? Because there's I would not think even the Republican nominee in New York City, I mean, I get it, would get, 7.5% of the vote.
Yeah. I'm wondering if you think I've said this earlier. Andrew Cuomo doesn't strike me as a very introspective person, but do you think he's looking back and wondering like what I could have done and should have done differently in this race?
You know what I was thinking of on election night? It reminded me in some ways of Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama in 2008, which is, I don't think that, look, Andrew Cuomo against the kind of like, okay, Democratic field is probably the Democratic nominee. He's got a ton of money. He has name ID, right? Like everybody knows him. It's like no one loves him, but it's like, oh, he probably could do the job. But the problem is he ran into like a political force of nature, which does happen. I mean, it's the same thing with Hillary Clinton. During that 2008 Hillary Clinton campaign, it's not as though I was like, oh my gosh, she's making so many terrible mistakes. Obama was just a phenomenon, right? And you can't, momentum, whether it's in sports or politics, it's hard to predict, and it's really hard to stop. Cuomo probably wins against most of the people who might have run. It's just Mamdani caught a moment with his skill set, and it all sort of added up. I mean, I think Cuomo is done at this point. Like, I can't see a path back. Although, like, I wouldn't have said he would have run for mayor, and I certainly would have said he would have stayed in the race after he lost the primary. So he's clearly a political animal, right? And he loves his stuff. He's not that old, but man, it would be tough.
Well, okay, so two things. One, so you think Cuomo was destined to lose this because Mamdani was such a force, and even if Cuomo had run a better campaign, even if Cuomo had seemed more apologetic about some of his past scandals instead of just sort of defiant, none of that would have mattered because Mamdani was that good.
I mean, I think that's like saying, what would Chris Cillizza be like if he was an introvert? Do you know what I mean? Like, this is like not who I am. It's like you and I. Right. It's like, what would it be like if you didn't talk and you didn't like seeing yourself talk? Like Andrew Cuomo, like, yes, in theory, if Andrew Cuomo was more, if he was less kind of like capital E
like
establishment,
himself.
If he could if he was not who we know Andrew Cuomo to be, yes, but I mean, it's like I've learned this. I'm old enough in my life. It's like you've got certain strengths and you've got certain weaknesses, and it's really hard to change either of those. It's like
Right.
his strengths are he's a pretty good bureaucrat. He has
Hmm.
a really well known name, right? He loves politics. His weaknesses
Yep.
are he just isn't terribly inspiring. And when you are matched up against someone who is really inspiring, young,
Mm,
kind of catches the zeitgeist,
mm.
Andrew Cuomo, as we know him, right, isn't going to be the guy that's going to be more introspective or be like, hey, I love change. And if he tried to, it would come off totally inauthentic, which, by
It'd
the way,
be weird.
he tried to
Yeah.
occasionally. And you were like, oh, this is a lot cringy.
So do you think there's any part of this where Mom Donnie got lucky, right? There were conditions.
Of course.
I hear you. Mom Donnie is, I think, preternaturally talented at
Yes.
this. Um, but there were conditions that were favorable. A crowded field, Andrew Cuomo being very disliked and having very high unfavorables, Eric Adams having this like swirl of scandal
Yep.
always around him. Um, how much of the conditions were responsible for Zohran Mamdani's win?
Oh, I think a ton. I
Okay.
mean, but I would say that about any politician. Like any politician who says they'd rather be good than lucky is not a winning
Uh-huh.
politician, right? I mean,
Uh-huh.
look,
Uh-huh.
Just to go back, Barack Obama is a really talented politician, probably the most talented Republican or Democratic politician of his generation.
Yep.
But if Hillary Clinton votes against the Iraq War resolution in the early 2000s,
Mm.
Barack Obama has no in into
Mm.
that race, right? The way that he gets in is I called it right back then, and all these other people called it wrong.
Yeah.
So it's the
Right.
same thing, right? It's all luck.
Right.
It's all being right place, right time. It's like life, right place, right time. And then when
Yep.
the spotlight comes on, you got to perform. And to Mom Donnie's
He did.
credit, he performed.
He did. Okay, stay there. I've got lots more questions for you. Lots more to discuss on the other side of this break. Battleground NYC. We'll be right back. We're back with Battleground NYC, the fight for your vote, once again with Chris Cillizza. Chris, there was a lot of, in the wake of Mamdani winning, you heard from a lot of both Republicans and Democrats saying, good luck, New York. A lot of doom and gloom. You just elected a socialist. This city's going to burn to the ground. There was a lot of this sort of like consternation over
Yes.
what just happened. Of course, in addition to all the excitement of the folks that voted for Mamdani, where do you weigh in like the scale, the spectrum of emotions of what could all of this mean
I
for New
mean,
York?
so I tend to, and I felt this way about Trump too. I tend to believe that the like New York will be a burning hellhole in 6 months seems unlikely to be true. Like New York is New York for good and for bad. New York City, right? Like
Yes.
I think I talked to so many people who live there, and they're like, I don't know that the city is like governable. Like it's just so hard. It's like being the governor of California. It's just so big.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's so
Right.
there's so many divergent interests. So I'm always a little bit like, let's not get too carried away. Like, yes, the
Uh-huh.
mayor has power, but like he's not
Mhm.
he's not going to seize all power, become a dictator, and so do I think he has ideas and views that are outside what New York has elected in recent years? Sure.
Yeah.
Do I think he tried to moderate after the primary? 100%. You know
Yes,
what
he
he
did.
didn't say in what I thought was a very good victory speech on Tuesday night? He didn't talk a lot about being a democratic socialist. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
he did.
and
Yeah.
I I don't know. I always think like usually the politician bends to the system, not the system to the
Mhm.
politician. Usually,
Mhm.
um,
Mhm.
that doesn't mean Zoran Mamdani is not going to govern much further to the left than Andrew Cuomo would have, right? I mean, like
Right.
there's no question about that. I'm interested to see how much of the stuff he promised on the campaign trail, what does he choose to focus on? My guess is if he's smart, he'll go out housing affordability, both rent,
Yes.
especially on the rent side, because that
Has
is
to.
something he can have a real impact on, and he did campaign on it. I saw trending on Twitter this week. It was like New Yorkistan. I'm like, okay. I mean, I just don't think we're heading in that
Relax. Yeah.
direction. Like,
Well,
yes, he is different than what Andrew Cuomo would have been, but I
yeah.
think it's like a little overblown. Let's see what
I
he
also
does
think,
in office.
yeah, and listen, I think we should take everything he has ever said seriously,
Yes,
okay? And yes, he did moderate for political reasons, I'm sure. We should take it all seriously and consider what that means. But he's been elected now. And I have to tell you, as a New Yorker, someone who lived there for many, many years and survived 9/11 and a blackout and
yep.
Hurricane Sandy and over. That was just in my short time there. Think about all the other things. New York is resilient.
I think
And
that
New
about the
York
country. I totally
stands
agree.
athwart to like
Yes.
really big. I mean, we had an economic crash. We had so much happened in a very short period of time when I lived there from 2000 to 2013. You can It's impenetrable. It's indefatigable. It's New York.
And that's
There's
the
only
thing.
so much a guy can do.
That's the thing. It's like that is both the most reassuring and most challenging thing if you're a
Yes, that
politician
is
from there, right? Because
yes,
it's like
exactly.
it is. This is all my friends who live in New York are like it's some of them like Mamdani and some of them really didn't. It's like how much can you do,
Yeah.
right? Like it's
Yeah.
just it's kind of this monolith, and it's like
Yes.
how do you tackle it? I'm interested to see it, to be totally honest, because I think he will do some things, some experimental things that Andrew Cuomo wouldn't do. And I don't know if
Yes.
they'll succeed or they won't succeed, but I will tell you, I mean, I think one thing I am struck by in both parties is there's not
Mhm.
a lot of new ideas. So when you have someone with
No.
new ideas, I'm interested to see how those ideas
Yes,
work.
me too. And the lack of imagination in both parties, I think, is what a lot of voters are reacting to. And we had voters tell us, we love Mamdani. We don't care if he can do the things he's promising or
Yep.
not. They were there for the hope. Now, does the hope and change, is the hope enough to make meaningful change? Absolutely not. You actually have to do the things, and
Yeah, you
that's
got to do the work.
relationship building and leadership and having all the right things in place. But I'm also here for experimentation because that's the only way you know if something will work or not. You
You got
have
to
to just try it.
you have to take some swings. I mean, that's the thing I
Yeah.
think with so many politicians. Kamala Harris, her 2024 campaign reminds me of this. Too cautious. You have to take
Yes.
some swings. These are not offices, big offices, right? Governor, mayor of New York, governor, Senate, president. They are just not given to you. You don't just get them because your
Yeah.
resume looks good. You got to take, I'm not saying you got to take every risk, but you have to take some chances. Be like, I believe in these three things. If I was Mamdani, what I would think is, what are 2 to 3 things that I really believe in that I think as mayor I can have an active hand in, and I'm going to push
Yeah.
there. You can't push on 100 fronts, but neither should you
No.
push on 0 fronts.
Yes. And I think what he said, he's sort of challenged on this over the course of the campaign. And I think he said something like, when did aspiration become a crime?
That's right.
And it's a good answer for the you don't have experience, critique, which is still a fact. But aspiration shouldn't be a crime, but it also isn't like a practical solution. You've got to
I
actually have those solutions.
I wrote down politics of optimism when I was watching Mamdani speak. Happy
Yeah.
warrior, right? Politics of
Yes. Right.
there's real power, Republican, Democrat, whatever, in the politics of optimism.
100%. Let's try it. I'm here for it. Um okay, I've got much more for you, Chris, so don't go anywhere. One more break. More Battleground NYC after this. We're back with our last Battleground NYC fight for your vote with our good friend Chris Cillizza. Chris, one more on Mamdani.
Sure.
President Trump was a larger than life figure in this local election, and we know all the reasons why, right? It's his hometown. Mamdani's a very useful foil. He
Yep.
got all the things out of this, I think, and I think the Trump Mamdani reality show is going to start next week and like never end. What do you
I
think?
would say it almost, I was a little surprised by this, SC, but in Mamdani's speech, he said, President Trump, I know you're watching. Turn the
Yeah.
volume up. And then
Yeah.
Brett Baer at Fox later in the week asked Trump about it, and Trump said that wasn't a very nice thing to say. So it's like it's already on.
It's
You know what I
already
mean?
on.
It's like, and it's
Yeah.
what's fascinating about it. It's in their both of their best political interests to
Yep.
keep it going. No one is interested
Totally.
in in taking the temperature down.
No, and Trump will use it as a very useful distraction from
Yes.
all the things happening in Washington. It'll be useful for so many reasons, and Mamdani will use it, but also we talked to a lot of voters who said they elected him to fight Trump. Like that's
Yes.
part of
It's
what
New
they
York
wanted
City.
out of
I
him.
mean, it's not Alabama. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like people want fight. And I think that's one
Yes.
thing that Mamdani understood that Andrew Cuomo did not. Mamdani understood that this is like, yes, the of New York is influence over the president is very small, but
Yep.
people want fight. They want
They really do.
stand up, don't be the establishment. You're going to shake things up. And by the way, like
Yep.
they always say you don't like the people who are too similar to you. Mamdani politically, not his beliefs, but his approach, very
Yep.
similar to Donald Trump's approach.
Yes. But say more. How
Well,
so?
I mean,
I agree, but say
a
more.
lot of because of at your word aspirational stuff, right? A lot of like, why don't
Yeah.
we aim for the moon? You know what I mean? Like, why don't we
Yeah.
go big? Why are we caught in this incrementalism? And both Mamdani and Trump did this. I always remind people if you go back and look at Donald Trump in 2016, he's running as much against the Republican establishment, even in the
Yeah.
general election, as he is
Totally.
against the Democratic establishment.
Yep.
Mamdani is like that too. I mean, remember, he beats the figure. If you had to name one last name, one family that represents Democratic politics in New York over the last 40
Mhm.
years, you would say the Cuomos. I mean, like, right?
100%.
So he's running against that, and he understands that. So I do think, again, I don't think Zoran Mamdani would ever own Donald Trump, and I don't think Donald Trump would ever own Zoran Mamdani, but they are similar in their approach with very different electorates.
Yep. Okay, let's talk about some of the other things that happened on Tuesday
Sure.
night. Two moderates, two, I like saying this, two NatSec moms
Yes,
won their races. That's my kind of candidate, a NatSec
I know that's
mom.
right in the SC Cup wheelhouse.
Totally. Like that's my total lane. Love a NatSec mom. I just talked to Alyssa Slotkin earlier today for my podcast.
Another
Another NatSec mom.
2018
Love her.
class of 2018, right?
Yes.
Spanberger,
Yes.
Cheryl, and Alyssa Slotkin, all 2018 class. And by the way, did you know
Yes.
this? Spanberger and Cheryl were roommates
I did know
in
that.
Congress.
Yes.
It's crazy. Now both
Yes.
elected governor on the same day.
It's great for them. So make sense of the wins. You had Prop 50 in
Yep.
California. You had a progressive win in New York City, some Republican wins in Long Island in Nassau County. And
Um.
then these two moderate NatSec moms win in New Jersey and Virginia. Make
So
sense of like what do I take from this if I'm a
yeah, it's
Democrat?
hard. I mean, and I
It
spend so
is.
much time trying to weave the thread that makes them all
Yeah.
make sense. To me, take Prop 50 a little bit out. It's
Okay.
California, and the funding disparity was so huge. The Gavin Newsom pro Prop 50 side was really well funded. The anti
Yeah.
money didn't show up.
Republicans barely played.
It's
Yeah.
California, and the message of give Donald Trump the middle finger plays really well, and it's a ballot
Yep.
initiative. Okay.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
But for Spanberger, Cheryl, and Mamdani, I do actually think there's a common thread, which is affordability, right?
Yep.
Rent costs too much. You can't afford your house. Donald Trump says he was going to bring
Energy
down grocery
costs.
prices. So
Hmm.
that
That's right.
it's a phrase that a Democrat running in Michigan named Mallory McMorrow, running for Michigan Senate, calls the affordability crisis. I think
Yeah.
Democrats should take that and run with it. It can work in New
Totally.
York City. It can
Yeah.
work in Virginia. It can work in New Jersey. And I would argue, look, I think it can work in
Yep.
Michigan. It can work in Wisconsin. It can work in swing states too. That's that common thread. I feel like, the Prop 50 thing's like a different animal.
If we agree, and I totally agree, that the affordability is the common thread through
Yeah.
all of these things. Republicans were pretty good at that messaging in 2024.
Yep.
Trump and Republicans really got that.
How he
They
won.
100% how he won, just by paying lip service to the top three issues: economy, crime, immigration. He offered wild solutions, but no one cared, right? It was just paying that lip service. Do Democrats learn this lesson, that they need to focus on the issues that matter to voters and not the issues they want to matter to
Yep.
voters?
I mean, I always say this. You know how much Abigail Spanberger talked about democracy?
Not at all.
0.0%.
Right,
It's just, it's
right.
not a priority issue, and Democrats need to learn that for swing voters.
Yeah, and also, I mean, Mamdani is a lot of firsts, right? But he really didn't run on identity politics.
No,
He was interested in your issues:
that's right.
affordability, housing,
That's it.
transit, public safety. He was focused. It wasn't about him. And Democrats really need to let go of that stuff. It isn't appealing. It's the
Nope.
stuff they wish was appealing, but it's not. It
Politics is
doesn't
not
move the
about
needle.
what you want people to care about. Politics is about what people care about, not what
It,
you
it,
think
it
they should
sounds
care
really
about.
obvious,
Yeah.
but it needs saying. Okay, Chris, we got one more
Okay.
block after this, so don't go anywhere. More Battleground NYC after the break. And for the last time, welcome back to Battleground NYC, the fight for your vote, with Chris Cillizza. Okay, Republicans are doing some strange things, Chris. They are doing some strange things after this election. We've got them saying that winning is losing. I heard that from Laura Ingraham over at Fox. Mark-Wayne Mullen, I think, was on CNN saying, well, we didn't actually lose
No, they
because these
lost.
were, well, you lost.
Yeah,
But he
no.
was saying, but these are blue states. We weren't meant to win. Well, then why'd you even run? Like, if that, what? Of course you lost. If you're a Republican
Yeah.
or advising Republicans, and I don't mean Trump, I just mean, the guys
Mhm.
that are going to get,
On
rank
the
and file
ballot
guys.
next year, yeah.
Yeah, on the ballot. How do you message this? What do you say?
So, I mean, it's really obvious, and yet if past this prologue, they won't do it.
Mm.
Donald Trump is not popular. This is not a debatable
Yeah,
question. I mean,
yeah.
he's at 41, 42 nationally, right? And in swing states, he's in the same place. I know he's more
Yeah.
popular in Republican states. I know he's less popular in Democratic states.
Mm-hmm.
His handling of the economy, which is why he was elected, is way
Yep.
underwater. What you would do, take Donald Trump out and just say there's a Republican president who's at 40% approval nationally and underwater. His negatives are much higher than his positives on handling of the economy. And I'm a swing state Republican up in next year. You get
Mm-hmm.
away from him. I mean, it's obvious what you do.
Yeah.
You find ways to tell the electorate, yes, we're in the same party, but we're not the same guy. And I'm going to break with him publicly. So
They
that
won't do
seems
that.
to me, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's
Yeah.
not going to happen, even though it's as obvious as, I mean, it's the most obvious. It doesn't take a political genius to figure that out.
Yeah.
But I think it is unlikely, again, if past his prologue, they've never really done that. Again, he's a lame duck president. He can't serve, again, constitutionally. And yet he probably has more power over the Republican Party today than he did 4 years ago
Yeah,
or 8
for
years ago.
sure.
So
Right.
it's the thing that they should do, but it's not the thing I think they will do. And look, I think they're headed
Mm,
for major league losses in the House in 2026. I think if Democrats
mhm,
can put enough seats up, Alaska,
mhm.
can they find a candidate in Alaska? Could they find a candidate maybe in Kansas? Could they win the
Yeah,
Texas race? Could they win the Iowa race? I think that's on the table because you have a huge base energy disparity. The Democratic base is super fired up because they hate Trump, and the
yep.
Republican base is fat and happy. I mean, this happens every time when you have control of everything.
Sure,
You're not
sure.
you're not
As
wanting to,
motivated.
no, not even close. And so I think it could be really bad because I think the thing they should do is the thing they will not do.
Yeah, it reminds me, I used to work a lot with the NRA. And in Republican election years, gun sales would drop.
Yes,
And in Democrat administrations, gun sales would drop.
highest
Yeah.
gun
And it
sales
was,
in
you were
history
always
was
kind of,
before Obama got elected, or after Obama got
exactly.
elected, but before he got sworn in.
Yeah. And those
Yep,
complacent years, were tough for getting donors because there was no fear.
yep.
It's very similar in politics, but that's what they are saying. What about internally? What messages are they? What lessons do you think smart people in the Republican Party are batting around today? Think, okay, here's what we need to do now.
You can't be with Trump all the time. You have to
Mm,
find ways. Donald Trump, right? Donald Trump is the leader of the Republican Party, right? But Donald Trump's agenda is not the same as a Republican who's up in a swing district or a swing state. Donald Trump is
no, and
focused
he
on
doesn't care
legacy.
about your
No,
election either.
I always say this. You know what Donald Trump's top three priorities are? Donald Trump, followed by Donald Trump, with
Yeah,
third Donald Trump, and then
yeah,
maybe the Republican Party. I just think he's looking towards his legacy. He's trying to figure out how can I, in the next 3-ish years, cement my legacy, whether that's literally like building an arch in Washington, D.C.
right,
or legislatively.
right.
That is not the same trajectory and timeline you are on if you're a swing Republican. The problem
Yeah,
I think they have though is it's like waiting in line at Disney World, right, with your kid.
mhm,
If you wait in
mhm,
line for 5 minutes, your sunk
mhm.
cost is not that high. You get out of line. Kid's annoying. He doesn't want to wait in line. You get out of line.
Yeah,
If you wait in line for 3.5 hours for
you're
the
you're getting
the
on that ride.
dwarves mine
Yeah,
ride,
yeah.
well, they've been waiting in line with Donald Trump for a long time. So it's going to be real
Mm-hmm.
hard to suddenly be like,